Hari Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviran Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the last time we spoke about the stage known as Anartha Nivriti and the purification of the Anarthas. And if you remember, we spoke about 4 kinds of Anarthas. Anarthas which are coming from our impious or sinful acts. Anarthas which are coming from our pious activities, or in other words, desires that completely absorb our consciousness and attention and don't allow us to remember Krishna, to engage in devotional service. And also we have anarthas, apparatus against the holy name. And the last category was apparatus coming from the mistakes that we did during our devotional service, bhakti anarthas. We spoke that the first 2 anarthas, they can be mitigated very easily, namely the anarthas coming from sinful activities and from pious activities. Also, the anarthas coming from the mistakes we are doing during the devotional service, also they can be very easily mitigated just by chanting the holy name. The problem is that if we are performing devotional service, but we are doing different offenses against the holy name, apparatus against the holy name, this will slow down our spiritual progress. And basically we discuss how there are 10 offenses against the holy name. We discussed some of them. We said that the major problem, the major reason for all these offenses is the unattentive chanting, and how we have to be very attentive and careful in our devotional service, and especially when we are performing this practice of Nam Kirtan or Japa or chanting the holy name of the Lord. And then we spoke that these different anarthas, they are destroyed according to the level of the practitioner to a certain extent, namely partially, substantially, almost completely, and at the end, absolutely. So anarthas, they are partially destroyed in the stage of bhajana kriya, substantially on the stage of nishta, almost completely on ruchi. On prema, they are destroyed completely, and absolutely when the devotee receives the mercy and the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, or in other words, when he sees Krishna. So this is basically what we spoke the previous time. Now we will say a few more things about the stage of Anartha Nivriti, and then we will go on after that.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Somebody may say, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, somebody may object, but we know that in the case of the devotee, all anarthas are destroyed just by the power of the holy name. Right? We know, we have heard perhaps many quotations about the glory of the holy name, that just simply by chanting the holy name, one can be freed from all inauspicious bad habits, from all contamination. So he's quoting, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting a few verses in this regard. Oh my Lord, simply by as with the sunrise, all darkness is destroyed. In the same way, with one utterance of the holy name, all sins are destroyed. All glories to the holy name who bestows such auspiciousness on the world, on the whole universe. This is from Sridhar Swami. And from Srimad Bhagavatam, oh my Lord, simply by seeing you, one is immediately freed from all material contamination. This is not impossible because what to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing your holy name once only, even a Chandala can obtain liberation from the material world. Therefore, we should go on Harinam, because by hearing the holy name, people receive liberation, even if they are on the level of a Chandala.
Of course, after that, they can again do some sinful activities, but just by hearing the holy name or chanting the holy name, they immediately become liberated personalities, free from all their sins.
Yeah. So the question is, why we're talking about a gradual destruction of anarthas on the level of Bhajana Kriya is partial, then on the level of Nishta is pervasive, then on the level of Bhava is complete, on the level of Prema is absolute. When you attain darshan with the Lord is
completely absolute.
Yeah. Why we're talking about these things? Just by chanting once the holy name, everything bad is removed. So this is all true, explains the Acharya. This is all true. One should have no doubt that the holy name has, in all cases, such amazing power, unestimable power. However, the holy name, because he is Krishna himself, being unhappy with offenses committed against him, does not manifest its complete power in the offender. So, in other words, it is not a mechanical process. By chanting the holy name, I will attain certain result. Yes, but the holy name is a person, the supreme person, and if we commit offenses, then he may decide to withhold his power, and in this case, the offender will continue with his or her sinful tendencies for a while. So this is important. Does this make any sense? You understand this?
Yes.
Okay. So so the offender, he may not get the full potency of the holy name, but still he is not punishable by the Yamadutas. That's another important thing.
And he will never see Yamaraj.
Yeah, not even in a dream. He will not see the Yamadutas or Yamaraj. So he's not completely on the level of Bhava or Prema or Asakti or Ruchi, maybe, but he's not going to hell. So he's kept in this stage in between in order to have opportunity to overcome his offenses. Here, it's interesting, in Hari Bhakti Vilasa, it is stated that committing sin on strength of the holy name, one cannot be purified by practicing any other process, yoga or jnana or etc., or karma, even for thousands of years. In other words, in order to overcome the offenses against the holy name, we have to chant the holy name. We have to perform bhakti, devotional service. Only then we can overcome these offenses. So it's interesting. They say that the acharyas say that though the aparadi is free from yama, that means yamaraj, yama cannot free him from anartha. Yama means yama, niyama, pranayama, asana, all these levels of ashtanga yoga or any other process. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to mention. And another thing, the second thing, somebody may say, Vishwanath Chakravarti explains, somebody may say, but I have not committed any offense. I did not commit any offense. I don't remember. But one should not say this. One should not think like this, because what is the symptom of offenses? Very simple. When we perform Nam Sankirtan, we don't experience, we don't manifest symptoms of prema. So that means we have committed offenses. Simple. All right? Does this make any sense? You understand this point?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Maybe we don't remember, but it has been done. It has been committed. And the proof is that we don't experience prema. Normally, when we chant the holy name, when we take prasadam, when we listen to Bhagavatam, we should experience some symptoms of ecstasy. So the verse quoted is from Bhagavatam to substantiate this. One's heart is certainly still framed if, when chanting the holy name, there is no change in the heart, tears in the eyes, or staining of hairs on the body. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.24.
May I ask a question about that?
Yes, please.
But then, does that mean, because when a person first joins, and let's say one would expect that they experience symptoms of prema because they haven't committed any offenses yet? Or does it carry over into a next life? I don't know if my question makes sense.
Well, first of all, they're not like, we shouldn't take them that they're symptoms of prema, that somebody is on the level of prema. These are just ecstatic symptoms that they're coming naturally in the process of devotional service, supposed to be, if we are free of offenses. Yes, that means that usually in the beginning we didn't have enough time to commit many offenses. Therefore, in the beginning of our practice, usually we, as the devotees like to say, we receive lots of mercy. It's amazing. Simple activities of bhakti give us so much spiritual happiness and pleasure. And in due course of time, if we are not careful, then the same activities, they tend to become little stale. We take devotional service for granted. Sometimes it happens. So yes, therefore, you're right, because they didn't have time to commit offenses. Of course, it may be that from previous, we're carrying some offenses from previous lifetimes. So therefore, you see sometimes devotees who have a strong desire to associate with the devotees, but they don't have opportunity because they have some health problems. They're crazy a little bit or a lot, or they have some other problems and they don't get it. Is this answering your question, Matthew? Or do you want to add something?
Yes, that answers. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I also wanted to say that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is mentioning that when we perform Namaparada or offenses to the holy name, actually there are two results coming from this. One result is that we are losing taste to the devotional activities, such as reading Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy name, associating with the devotees. This is one result from performing offenses. Other result is that we start seeing the spiritual transcendental objects as mundane. That is the other result. In other words, our vision become materialistic again. So, for example, we know if a devotee goes in the temple and see prasadam although it may be the most simple food, he will accept it with great honor and happiness because he knows this is not an ordinary food. This is a transcendental food. Or for example, when a devotee sees the deity, even from materialistic perspective, if the deity is not like the most
nicely dressed, or
nicely dressed, or the form of the deity may not be perfectly made, he appreciates the transcendental beauty of the deity because this is Krishna. So now when we perform lots of apparatus, this goes back to the previous situation. We cannot appreciate the beauty of the deity. We cannot appreciate the beauty of the association of the Vaishnavas. We cannot appreciate the beauty of prasadam. In other words, because we start seeing everything from material perspective, we gradually start to criticize. We say, oh, this is not good, that is not good, tempo is not good, prasadam is not good, speaker on Bhagavatam is not good. Why? Because of Namaparada. This is the result.
Maybe we will not say it's not good, but we will say, well, nothing special. Nothing special. Been there, done that. And what happens usually is that this type of devotees, they gradually remove themselves from the devotee association, and they think that, oh, I have seen the light. I finally understood that these devotees are not very advanced. It's not. I don't have good association there. It's not good for me to stay because they are Kanishta Adhikaris, etc., etc. But actually, what happens is that they are actually removed because of their offenses. But they think that they have taken this decision voluntarily, and they think
it's their own decision.
They think it's my own free will. Actually, they have been kicked out, and they have been removed for the time being from the association of devotees. That's what actually happens. And the last thing Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that this is compared to serious fever, losing all taste for food. Our food is devotional service, the food of the soul. But when we lose the taste for this food, then we are sick. And then a person finds it impossible to eat. When people are very sick, they don't have appetite. So if you don't have appetite and you don't eat, the body becomes very weak and emaciated. So a person who commits serious offense loses scope for hearing, chanting, and performing devotional activities. Okay, and then he's still a devotee, but he is a devotee who is not qualified to perform devotional service. It's interesting situation. Devotee who is not qualified to perform bhakti. And then after some time, when the fever diminishes, then he will again start to take little food, and then he'll get some nourishment, and then in due course of time, if he's careful, then he'll be restored to his original position as a devotee, who is qualified for devotional service. He's devotee all the way, but at one point, he's not allowed to do bhakti.
So basically that means that once we start seriously the process of devotional service, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Neha Vikramana Shosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Svalbam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatobayat. There is no loss, there is no diminution. But for some short period, short from spiritual perspective, we may be a little bit slowed down in our devotional advancement. But then, as Pandava Prabhu said, when we stop performing this nama aparadas, gradually we will become cured again and we will continue with our devotional practice. Okay, so do you have some questions until now? That was more or less for the level of anartha nivriti, purification of the anarthas.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So is there a difference then between, let's say, because sometimes, let's say a devotee leaves the movement, but they, for whatever reason, but they continue to practice devotional service, compared to, that's different from a devotee who leaves and no longer practices devotional service. Is that correct?
Yes, of course, there are many, many different private cases, and one should see exactly what's the situation. Like, for example, someone may leave the movement because of he thinks something is wrong with the movement, or he thinks that something is wrong with Srila Prabhupada. In this case, obviously, there will be some aparada, Vaishnava aparada, or Guru aparada. But someone may leave for other reason. Like, for example, he was coming, getting some enthusiasm from ISKCON, but then at some point, for some reason, one or the other reason, he was more attracted from other Vaishnava Guru, not exactly from the tradition of ISKCON, let's say from Gaudiya Math or some other Vaishnava tradition, other Sampradaya, maybe Sri Sampradaya, and then he takes shelter of Guru in this tradition, then this will be fine. Just his mood is a little bit different. That's why he
Of
chooses
course,
to
it will be
practice there.
fine. It will be fine if he or she,
Did not.
if he took initiation from bona fide guru, Gaudiya Vaishnava guru in this case, and he rejects this guru to go to take initiation from another Vaishnava, this is already a guru vagya. It's offense. That's parada, because this is Vaishnava, a bona fide guru. You cannot reject bona fide guru. You can ask the guru for permission to go and take shiksha from
Someone else.
somebody else, and if the guru gives blessing, then that's fine. But just to like this, to discard your guru without, for no good reason, that's not allowed.
So basically, it should be seen what's exactly the case. It may vary from one person to the other.
Right, right. Okay.
Better if somebody leaves ISKCON, it's better that he continues with bhakti, of course. It's better. You can go back home to Godhead outside of ISKCON too. You won't go back home to Godhead to where Prabhupada is, but you can go back home to Godhead outside of ISKCON.
Of course, we as Prabhupada Nugas, we want to go the place where Srila Prabhupada will be and serve him, and in this way stay in the spiritual world. We want to be there where Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
That's our mood.
Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Now we'll go to Nishta. This is the fourth shower of nectar. Nishta, if you remember, when we were discussing that devotee under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master start performing devotional service, we said that these devotional services of two kinds: anishtita bhajana kriya, or unsteady devotional service, and nishtita bhajana kriya, steady devotional service. So what's the difference between the two? The difference is the purification from the anarthas. This is the difference. Basically, we can perform devotional service already, but until we have serious amount of anarthas in our heart, it will be difficult to become steady. And when the bigger part of the anarthas are being destroyed in our heart, in our mind, then gradually the devotee becomes more and more fixed in the devotional service. And this level is called Nishta. Now first, why the things are exactly in this order? Like we have unsteady bhajana kriya, then anartha nivriti, then steady bhajana kriya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that he is following this order from a few verses in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, second chapter, I believe verses 16 and 17. I have them here. Anyway, I'll just quote the verses, but I believe they are 1, 2, 16 and 17. Shinvata Svakata Krishna. 17 and 18. Okay, sorry. Shinvata Svakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyanta Stohi Abadrani, Vidunoti Suhritsatam. When the devotee becomes engaged in devotional service, Shinvata Svakata Krishna, constantly he's hearing about the glories of the Lord. Everything that is troublesome to the heart is being destroyed. Vidunoti Suhritsatam. And then, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By this constant service to the Bhagavata, the book Bhagavata, and the devotees, personalities Bhagavata, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. Almost everything that disturbs the heart is destroyed. And then, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, Nishta. Then, devotee becomes totally, completely situated in the pure devotional service, Nishta. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that after most of the anarthas are destroyed, we are becoming situated on the level of Nishta, but still some small impurities are there in the heart, and they may remain there till the last levels, even till the level of bhava, and they disturb a little bit the engagement of the devotee in devotional service. So some of those are categorized as obstacles. Obstacles which are basically not allowing us to become so fixed in the process of devotional service in order to become completely fixed in Nishta, in state devotional service. What are these obstacles? We are going to speak about them a little bit now. 5 of them. These are impediments or obstacles in the heart. When they are not there anymore, this is a symptom that someone is very nicely situated in the process of devotional service. And until they are seen, we can say that someone is situated, but maybe not completely in the process of bhakti. So, which are those 5? First one is laya. Laya means basically the tendency to sleep during hearing and chanting. Already here we are losing it a little bit. But basically that means one should become free from this. So that means he's so fixed, he has so much interest in these activities that even if he is a little bit tired, he will not fall asleep during his chanting, during hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So laya is the first obstacle. Then the second one is called Vikshepa. Vikshepa means talking or thinking about mundane nonsense during devotional activities, such as hearing and chanting. Or in other words, to be distracted towards mundane topics while we are performing our activities. Like we are hearing the holy name, we are hearing Bhagavatam, but instead of actually hearing, our mind goes somewhere else. What are the news? What's going on the other part of the world? Who will be the next president? And so on and so on. Our mind constantly is going to all these mundane topics. And because of that, although we are there, and although the holy name is chanted, the kirtan is there, or the Krishna Katha is there, we cannot really get benefit out of it. That's the second obstacle. So the tendency to sleep and distraction from mundane topics which constantly appear in our mind. Then the third obstacle is Pratipati. This means both laya and Vikshepa are already not there, so devotee is not distracted from feeling sleepy during these activities, and he can control his mind, and his mind is not wandering around thinking about mundane topics. But at times, one still feels incapable or disinterested to hear and to chant about Krishna. So, in other words, occasional inability sometimes to engage nicely in kirtan, in Krishna Katha. So you don't do it because you feel sleepy, or you don't have so much taste about all these mundane topics, but still sometimes you just don't feel very inspired to engage nicely in hearing and chanting. So in other words, we could say a little bit, one is wasting his time. One is wasting his time. Then the fourth obstacle is kashaya, the tendency to display faults as anger, greed, arrogance during devotional activities. So while we are doing devotional service, sometimes we become angry or greedy or arrogant or start quarreling with the devotees, and this disrupts our devotional service. That's why it is obstacle for our Nishta Bhakti, steady devotional service. And then, yes, the last one is Rasa Svada. Mind is so attracted to sense pleasure, often meditating on it, that one is unable to hear and chant with concentration. In other words, inability to absorb in kirtan or other devotional activities if there is opportunity for sense pleasure. So if there is no opportunity for sense pleasure, then we will be fixed on devotional service. But when the opportunity appears, we say, oh, what's the problem? Just like for 5 minutes, let me just see. Is the best movie. I'm hearing they are advertising this movie already from 1 year. Just let me check it out for 1.5 hours. What's the problem? So it's called Rasa Svada. With the removal of these obstacles, the devotee makes progress towards Nishta, steady devotion. When Nishta blossoms in the devotee's consciousness, the immediate effect is that one is no longer ruled by anger, by greed, by lust, coming from the lower modes of passion and ignorance. One becomes firmly fixed in devotion to the Supreme Lord. So basically that we become not influenced by anger, greed, lust. It means, as we can learn from the next verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 1-19, Tadar Rajastamo Bhava Kamaloba Dayasche Chetayatair Anavidam Stitam Sattve Prasidati. These things still exist in the heart of the devotee in a neutral state, but they cannot really touch the consciousness of the devotee. The mind of the devotee is not affected by them, although they are still present in the heart of the devotee. So when we become fixed on the level of Nishta, totally fixed in devotional service, anymore the lust, the greed, anger, they cannot touch the mind of the devotee. Mind of the devotee is not getting influenced by those lower qualities. So basically we can say that the big struggle, the big battle in devotional life is that we focus ourselves, we fixed ourselves on this level of Nishta. After that, everything will become very, very, very easy. Before that, we are kind of devotees and we want to do devotional service and we are doing some devotional service, but at the same time, we are also sometimes non-devotees because we want to engage in something else. So two personalities live at the same time in our heart. Our image of a devotee and our image of non-devotee. Till we fix ourselves on the level of Nishta, this duplicity in the character of devotee will exist. And sometimes we will want to be devotees, but maybe we will be forced by the lower qualities of anger, greed, lust, act as a non-devotees.
That's what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna asks, by what is the reason that sometimes I engage in sin even unwillingly, and Krishna says, it's a lust only, Arjuna, kama, which is the old devouring sinful enemy.
Yes.
The enemy of the soul.
These lower qualities, this is not who are we. We are something different. But because we identify so much with them, with these desires, and then we are forced to act upon them. That's why in these same verses in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Tasmat Indriyani Yadao Niyamya Bharatarshava. What is the way to fight with this lust that is pushing you to act in these improper ways? Well, from the beginning, from the first moment when your senses want to get in contact with the sense object, immediately control them, stop them. Don't allow your senses freely to meditate on the sense objects, because this will become the cause later for developing desire, then for developing lust, then for developing anger, and then getting bewildered, and ultimately falling again in the material ocean.
Bhavasagar.
Bhavasagar. So again, we will repeat this 5. I think this is very good test that someone see if he is on the level of Nishta or not. Sometimes I was thinking for myself, oh, I'm already on the level of Nishta. You see, I'm getting every day for Mangalarti. I'm going every day to Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm eating my breakfast at the same time every day. So I'm very fixed. I'm Nishta. Then when I read these things in the book of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and I was thinking, okay, looks like there is much more job to be done here. So again, the 5 stop obstacles, when they are not existing anymore, that means we are really fixed on the level of Nishta. Before that means still some job should be done. Of course, the gross anarthas, they can be already dealt with. But still, these subtle things that we have to get rid of, still they're there. So again, laya, tendency to sleep during hearing and chanting. Vikshepa, distraction towards mundane topics while we are doing our devotional service. Pratipati, occasional inability sometimes to do kirtan, although laya and vikshepa, the previous 2, are absent. At times still we feel incapable or disinterested in hearing and chanting. Kashaya, the tendency to display faults as anger, greed, lust, arrogance during devotional activities. And rasa svada, the mind is so attached to sense pleasure, often meditating on it, that one is unable to hear and chant with concentration. Or in other words, sometimes when opportunity for sense gratification appears, we cannot absorb ourselves in kirtana. Our mind wants to go in this direction. Do you have some questions until here for these 5?
Um, yeah, I have a question. Sometimes there's a tendency to focus on these obstacles, at least I find for myself, like, let's say individually, and think that I have to do something else to get rid of that problem. So like, I don't know. I mean, just okay, let's say with falling asleep. I mean, there's one side that says, well, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I don't go to bed early enough. So there's that. But 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 then there's also like the thing with the anger, and I might think, oh, I have to do something separate, like a a seminar, or some kind of other course for that. So, but it seems like really it's just the focusing on, well, what is it? Or do I just have to focus on my chanting and everything else will fall into place?
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, one should be conscious also about this discrepancies. We all have weaknesses. We should be aware of as far as possible, and also at the same time be conscious of them and try to work on them. So it shouldn't be just one or the other.
Mm.
Most important thing is that by the process of bhakti, we will acquire all the good qualities, um, just on the strength of our performance of devotional service. But at the same time, if we are aware what are our shortcomings, uh, this will help because then we can consciously work on them. So it shouldn't be one or another. Why not both? We should know what's the most important. This is chanting, hearing. We know the 5 most potent forms of bhakti as they are given by Mahaprabhu. And at the same time, if we can also be aware that this is my weakness, so I shouldn't put myself in a situation where this weakness can be easily exploited by Maya. So why not also use also this intelligence that is given by Krishna to avoid such a situation and to put ourselves in a good situation where we have lots of sadhu sangha and where our natural spiritual propensities will flourish. Actually, we're coming next topic, which Tulsi Prabhu will explain, is actually very much connected to your question. There are 2 types of Nishta.
Yes. Let's cover the next topic, and then if you like, Mataji, you can add something on this point. It's okay?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So yes, Pandava Prabhu said the last thing that we are going to speak today, it's connected with this question. We have 2 types of Nishta, or fixed faith. First one is known as Sakshat Bhakti Vishayani, or devotee becomes steady in the core practice of bhakti, in the bhakti itself. For example, he becomes very steady in his chanting, in his worshipping the deity, is always looking for the association of the devotees. These main core practices of bhakti, devotee becomes very steadily situated in them every day, in and out. Then the second kind of nishta is vastu vishayani, fostering the complementary bhakti qualities, or steadiness in favorable qualities for bhakti. Like we know, we have certain qualities which are very favorable for our practice of devotional service. For example, to get angry is not a favorable quality, but to be meek and humble and tolerant and respectful to others, these are qualities that are very much helpful. So one can become steady in these kind of qualities. In other words, while he is doing devotional service, he's acting in this way. He is meek with other devotees, kind, forgiving, tolerant, humble, patient, and so on and so on. He's developing all these good qualities. Now, both of those are important and both of those are very helpful. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making very interesting point. He's saying sometimes we may see a devotee who is very steady in the main practice of bhakti, of devotional service, but he is not always manifesting, or maybe not, he's not manifesting all of those good qualities like humility, tolerance, enthusiasm. We understand, yes? We have a devotee, he is very fixed, he goes every day for Mangalarti, chanting very nicely his rounds, he's reading every day 2-3 hours Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with the devotees. But sometimes it may look that he is acting not in a very gentleman way. And then we may have another devotee who manifests all these good qualities. Like, for example, he is good, he is kind, he is tolerant, he is humble. All these favorable qualities for bhakti we can see in his character. But he is not really completely fixed in the main practice of bhakti. So that means sometimes he is chanting nicely, sometimes he is not chanting so nicely. Sometimes he is reading 3 hours Srimad Bhagavatam, then maybe for 1 week he is not reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So he shows very good qualities. In other words, apparently he shows the second kind of bhakti, of Nishta, sorry. But he is not really fixed in the core practices of bhakti. So what's the situation here? The conclusion of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is most important is if the devotee is fixed in the process of bhakti, in the main practices of bhakti. This is the proof that he is fixed on Nishta. So in other words, sometimes we may have the case that someone is actually already on the platform of Nishta, but still some good qualities may be present in his character, some may still not be present. We should not be worried from this, because just by being fixed in the process of devotional service, which is, we know, non-different from Krishna, and Krishna is the most pure object, Krishna is the all attractive because he has all good qualities. By associating with devotional service, this devotee gradually he'll get all the good qualities. And we have a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam which proves this. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati kinchana sarvair guna istatta samasate suraha harava bhaktasi kuto mahat guna manoratena sati davato bahi. Gradually, devotee who is fixed in devotional service, he develops all the good qualities of all the demigods. So this should not disturb us if we see that someone is very fixed in the practices of bhakti, but still at this point of his devotional life, he may not manifest immediately all the good qualities of sadhu. Rather, they will come gradually. And then someone else may say, no, actually, real devotion, real bhakti means he has to show all the good qualities. And if he doesn't, that means he is not really fixed in the process of devotional service. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is not agreeable with this opinion. Rather, he is saying things should be other way around. Once the devotee is fixed in the process of bhakti, everything good will come from there. So, in regards to the question of Mataji, basically, we can do some things to help ourselves to become nicely situated in our devotional practice. Like we can go to sleep earlier. This will definitely help that we are nicely rested. We may not eat too much late in the evening. This will also help a lot. We may try to be especially attentive in our relationship with the devotees, not to offend some devotees. These things, they'll help. But actually, if we are serious in our devotional practice, if we chant very seriously and attentively without doing nama aparadas, offenses to the holy name, naturally Krishna will give us so much mercy that we'll avoid this. We'll avoid everything bad and everything good will appear in our life. It will become kind of automatically. But of course, as Pandava said, why one? Both is best. We should practice very seriously our bhakti, and at the same time, we can do some extra things if we think that they'll help us to
Of
become
course, these
more
extra
serious.
things doesn't mean that we should take special courses in, let's say, in anger management or some other karmi, mundane psychological adventures or entertainments. We don't require this. And personally, I don't recommend this to the devotees because we are coming from. I mean, for some karmi. I'm sorry, I'm using these words. Karmi. I hope you don't mind. A little bit old school. But for the non-devotees, maybe for them it's kind of spiritual, but some kind of advancement in the gunas. But for a devotee to go back to all these mundane things, it's not recommended because we already have the highest knowledge. Just we have to appreciate, we have to learn that everything what we require for our practical life is in Bhagavatam. It takes training and faith and endeavor.
Yes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is concluding the topic about Nishta by saying the essential yardstick for measuring perfectly the depth of Nishta Bhakti in one devotee, or the lack of it, Anishtita Bhakti, is whether hearing and chanting has intensified or has stagnated. An increase of hearing and chanting in our spiritual life will indicate rise in Nishta Bhakti, while any decrease will show the presence of Anishtita Bhakti. So basically, if we see in the life of one devotee that he is getting more and more serious about his hearing, about his chanting, about his associating with the devotees, and these things are increasing in his life, that means he is advancing and he is getting more and more steadily situated in the bhakti, nishta. And the opposite, if we see that some devotee, he was chanting, let's say, some amount of rounds, he was reading, he was associating some, some quota every week with the devotees, but then gradually with the time, yes, some amount, thank you. But gradually with the time, we see that actually this is going down. This means that this devotee is still not fixed on Nishta, rather he is engaged in devotional service, but his devotional service is anishtita. Sometimes he's doing more, sometimes he's doing less. Sometimes he's steady, sometimes he's unsteady. So this is the conclusion of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the topic of Nishta, fourth shower of Madhurya Kadambini. Would you like to ask something else or add something else? Or everything is clear?
I have a question. I think it's related. I hope it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing some service and you're aware that, oh, if I do this thing, devotees will appreciate me. So you don't want to do it for that reason, but at the same time, it's good to do that service. So yeah, so I guess I'm wondering, is it some to just do it anyway and even though knowing that's not the prime motivation, but that idea is there in the back, you know.
Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if a devotee has material desire, should humbly recognize that it is there, but should detest it. Detest, like we should kind of we should
Differentiate.
no. Anyway, should detest this material desire and continue his service, and then Krishna very soon will appear in the heart. I mean, he's already there, but it will appear and accept the devotee's love for him. And in other words, he'll purify this desire. We should be aware that I have this material desire, but we shouldn't identify with it as far as possible. Of course, it's not possible always. Sometimes we're just overwhelmed by material desires, what to do. But as far as possible, we should know that that's not me. It's not what this is not what I really want. It's just coming from my mind. It's a bad habit. It's inertia that I have been carrying with me since perhaps many lifetimes. Because especially when the body grows old, then usually most of the anarthas are gone. But then those who are still there to this very day, those are the anarthas that we have been carrying since many lifetimes.
But of course, we should not stop our devotional activities and devotional service if we see that our motivation is not completely pure. Rather, continue with the devotional service and work on your motivation. We just have to purify our motivation. I like to solve some of the gross anarthas or bad habits that we have. Relatively, it will take less time. But some of the subtle anarthas that we have, it may take a little bit longer. Like what you were saying, that, okay, we want to do devotional service, but we want to be recognized. Or everybody should say, oh, he's so good in this service, he's the best. These are subtle anarthas. Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying something very interesting. He's saying that anarthas tend to smother the natural growth of the creeper of bhakti. At first glance, unwanted desires look like shots from the bhakti lata, just like they are part of bhakti. But in reality, they are mundane desires for position, adoration, and opulence. So they color and taint the practitioner's consciousness. And then we cannot really do things completely pure for Krishna. So we, as Pandava Prabhu was saying, we have to see that these things are there. And when we see, we have to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, I will not give up my position of bhakta. I will not give my devotional service. But I have to be honest that still I have this selfish motivation in my mind. So Krishna, please help me to get rid of this. Help me to become your pure, unalloyed devotee. Someone who is interested only to give pleasure to you and doesn't want anything in return. Like I remember when Narsimha Dev is asking Prahlad Maharaj, so I'm so happy with you. Please tell me what you want. I want to give you benediction in return. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying, oh, my dear Lord, how is that? I did something for you. I did little bit devotional service and now immediately want to give me something in return. How I'm going to accept it? This would mean that I'm actually a businessman. I do something for you. Now I want some payment in return. No, I cannot do that. I'm your servant. That means I just have to be happy being in the position of your servant. This is the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. And we have to try to follow in the footsteps of these great acharyas. Everything for Krishna and nothing for me. For me, it's only the happiness that I will see Krishna happy. If we can come to this level of consciousness, then we are really Nishta in the pure bhakti. We are really steady. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhu. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you for being again with us. Hope to see you next time. Yes. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Om Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.